Hi, I'm Nathan. I go by Peteparker, and every week I do book reviews so that I can continue buying comic books because that's the rule at my house. If I want to keep buying them, I got to review them online. So this review is going to be about X-Men Legacy number 248, written by Mike Carey and drawn by Jorge Molina, I believe is the way it's said. There's a lot in this book, and it's awesome. So let's talk about what happens in this. So this is right after the Age of X arc that happened, where, if you didn't know, Legion, one of the aspects of his multiple personality disorder, had the ability to change reality for a little bit, and so they changed reality, and then eventually it fell apart, and he reverted everything back. So this is the aftermath of that. Basically, everybody on the X-Men has a whole nother lifetime of memories and a whole nother lifetime of hurt and pain and everything also in their mind at the same time as what really is true. So in the aftermath of this, and they explain all the backstory at the beginning, the X-Men and the leaders go about trying to put everything back and trying to figure out how to get everybody back to normal, more or less, or as close as possible. Their first priority is to fix Legion, and then the second priority is to send Emma and the Stepford Cuckoos out to erase anything that specific people don't want to remember about their previous lives. And there's a lot of surprises in there too. Cannonball, Sam Guthrie, wants his whole other life erased also, where he was respected and a leader and basically ran the field team of the X-Men. You'd think for sure that he'd want all that battle stuff, but his logic is that in that reality, his whole family was wiped out, and Paige blamed him for it, and he blamed himself for it, so he didn't want anything to do with that. Sure, but then, you'd think you'd just erase that part, and then all the battle, coordination, all that stuff would make him awesome. But don't worry, there's other stuff that isn't erased that's still awesome. A lot of other people in here get their minds erased. The Storm and Namor get their whole things erased because they were married in the other alternate reality, and they want to stay on good terms because Storm is actually married to Black Panther in the real reality or whatever. And then they go about setting Legion back up to where he can be functional or useful as an X-Man again. I don't know if he was ever an X-Man before. They always had trouble with him integrating. So this time they designed a little wrist thing that fits on his wrist where he can dial up using a sequential number. Let me read it to you because it's weird. I had to read it like 6 times before I even understood, and even then I only got it from the pictures. It says, it's the neural equivalent of a telephone switchboard. Keying in a number stimulates cells in your thalamus and neocortex. It creates a one-way link between you and one of your subcells, allowing you, for a few seconds at a time, to draw on its power set without being overwhelmed by its personality. Okay, sure, he can dial in a subset personality, right, and he's able to use their powers, but it says for a few seconds at a time, so he can only use their powers for a few seconds. Does that mean like you push in the number on your wrist or whatever, and then you can like fly for like 3 seconds, and then you can't fly anymore? Because that doesn't seem all that useful, right? And then their example is one where he grows to gigantic proportions for a second. Which again, great, I have the power for a second, I grow to this gigantic proportion. Can I dial that guy back in again? Or, to use the power, am I going to have to punch in that number every single time that I want to do that? Doesn't seem all that... I mean, it's a really cool idea. I just think that the way that they explained it didn't really give it, like, much merit as a real useful invention. So maybe they were trying to put limitations on it to make it more interesting. So then they get into the stuff that's not going to change, the aftermath stuff from the Age of X that's not going to change, or it's going to create problems for the X-Men in the future. These are the big spoilers, if there are big spoilers. One of them is Frenzy doesn't want to have her memories of the previous lifetime erased because she was totally head over heels in love with Cyclops, and she wants to keep all that. She believes that it's just as real as real life experiences, real life, whatever that is. And then there's other awesome, cool stuff that Dr. Rowe goes over with Cyclops. One thing is Hellions got these amazingly articulated artificial hands. So, like, not having hands isn't a problem for him anymore, and he's essentially more or less the same character that he was in Age of X with the character that he was before Age of X, all in one, with the ability to use these levitating hands. He uses his telekinesis or whatever to control them. Chamber, or Jonas Starsmore, how he was fixed when they put his jaw back in, the clan Ascani did, and they fixed his mutation so he could use it and wasn't totally messed up. That is undone, and they're trying to keep him from killing himself because that's the part of his powers that he always hated. That was the cool aspect of it. And then this one's really cool too. This chick Revenant that was in Age of X the whole time, that everybody was all excited about because it looks so much like Phoenix. They explain exactly who she was and what she's doing. Apparently, it was Rachel Summers. Is that what her last name? Yeah, Rachel Summers or Rachel Gray. I don't know what she uses. It's Nathan Summers and Rachel Gray, right? And Nate Gray. There you go. She was trying to telepathically contact the X-Men right as the whole thing got warped over, so her telepathic link, part of her mind, got moved over like a, whatever that's called. When they're out of their bodies, the psychic people. Astral plane characteristics. So that's kind of what she is, and then they explain that she had a message for him, but it was lost, and they don't know how to fix it, and that she's going away. One really cool thing besides the awesome art here is that Dr. Rowe explains the visible effect is caused by Bremsstrahlung radiation from a plasma field. She has no physical form as such, which I find personally really cool. I happen to be a physicist who works with radiation routinely, and they use Bremsstrahlung radiation correctly. That's amazing. That just shows you the level of detail that Mike Carey went into to describe that situation. I mean, can plasma give off Bremsstrahlung radiation, or could a mind actually create plasma? That's a little bit of a stretch, probably. But the use of the radiation is cool because that's exactly what that would generally do. Or kind of, I mean, more or less. I was really excited. It's a geeky thing, I know. And then at the very end of the story, you got Magneto going to Rogue and explaining how they were explaining their feelings for each other because their feelings were different in the Age of X universe and they don't know what to do with them. Gambit had similar feelings. Gambit and Rogue finally got together at the end of, or midway through, close to the end of the whole Age of X saga thing. So they're dealing with those two. And Rogue is really conflicted about who she was before and whether or not she should, keep all of those memories that she stored up, because in the other universe she was basically touching everybody, absorbing all their memories and keeping their memories as a legacy. So really, the Rogue that we have now has all of the memories of the people that died, even if they weren't real or even if they didn't really die, in the Age of X universe, on top of all her other craziness. I mean, she's got so much stuff in her head. I don't see how she can still be sane. But anyway, it leads into where they're going next, and you can tell by this thing right here, the splash page of the new cover, that Rogue and Magneto are going to continue to talk about how they kind of had feelings for each other and why they shouldn't let that go or whatever, probably. At least at the beginning. So I thought this was awesome. I thought this book was even better than the whole Age of X saga. I mean, you get some actual, realistic fallout from something that happened. I mean, these people are changed and they're different. That's wonderful, and you don't see that a lot. It seemed from the end of Age of X, the series or whatever, that nothing was going to be different again. That Legion would probably be on the team, but that's it. So it's really, really cool to see that there are leftovers still hanging around. And the art was wonderful too. I mean, I've been loving the X-Men Legacy art anyway. This is one of the books that I look forward to every week because you got so many different X-Men and you have great art going on in it too. I had, if you didn't hear, wished that the entire Age of X storyline had been drawn by Jorge Molina. Molina, instead of being back and forth between the New Mutants, because I don't really like the New Mutants art. So there you go. I'm going to give this book a 5 out of 5. There are some things about it, you know, there's actual real fallout, and the art is great, and the story is great, and there's so much packed into this one book that it's really good. So if you really want to see what happened after Age of X and how the X-Men are different afterwards, then you really need to read this, because there's a lot of little nuances in there that are really cool. So there you go. 5 out of 5, and thanks for listening. You can check out the rest of my reviews at Spidey207 on YouTube, and then check out comicvine.com or ifanboy.com or the Marvel or DC databases. I post all those. I'm mostly on the Marvel and DC databases. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.